Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Unless you've been here before, in that case, welcome back. For those of you who don't know, my name is Leo, and we have a little adventure for you guys today. I'm gonna do this one a little bit different. Instead of just telling you where I'm at, I'm going to give you guys a clue, and we'll see if y'all can figure it out where I'm at today. Are you ready for your first clue? Okay, let me get back here, and here comes your first clue. Are you ready? Okay, there is your first clue where I'm at today. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you probably figured it out by now, but anyway, we're in Man, West Virginia. Just stopped here by a pretty little mural right here in town. Look at that. Look at the detail. Hatfield-McCoy trails, fishing, kayaking. A little map. Look at that. All kinds of stuff all the way up through there. Information about the town, some of its history. Locomotives. The dam doomed from the start. I think we know what that is, don't we? We'll get to that just right here in a second. As I said, today I am in the small town of Man, West Virginia, along the banks of the Wyandotte River in southern Logan County. Though it's very quiet now, it's a Sunday, the place has quite a bit of history. It's seen coal booms, a historic sludge flood from a coal dam, and even the county's only legal hanging. It may be small, but Man's history runs deep. Man was incorporated in 1918, and the name comes from the last syllable of Dr. Ulysses Henchman, get it? Man, that's where it got its name. He was a respected doctor in the area. Like many towns in southern West Virginia, it grew quickly during the coal rush. The Chesapeake and Ohio Railway helped carry coal from nearby hollers like Buffalo Creek and Main Island Creek, fueling the town's rise. It was the kind of place where coal trains thundered through, company stores lined the road, and every holler had unique stories all its own. The early 1900s were a boom time, but also a rough time. Coal camps around Man were known for lawlessness, with stories of frequent fights and shootouts and disappearances. During Prohibition, the mountains surrounding Man became a paradise for moonshiners. I'm gonna walk over here and sit down. Gino's people, they said they'd watch my vehicle. Tow truck guys, they said, we know him, we won't let him tow you. I asked if I could park there on a Sunday. They said, yeah. Like I said, during Prohibition, it became a paradise for moonshiners, and many locals ran secret stills deep in the woods. For years, it wasn't uncommon for old stills to be found on the same trails now used by off-road riders. Some of the arrests made the papers. Others just became whispered tales about Grandpa's secret shine business passed down through the generations. These same ridges today have found new life as part of the Hatfield-McCoy trail system, with Man serving as a hub for riders exploring the Rock House trail system and the surrounding areas. Riders from all over now come to explore these rugged old hills. Most are unaware that they are passing through places that were once patrolled by gun-wielding hillbilly bootleggers and coal mine guards who were specifically hired to beat the crap out of trespassers. But man's single most defining moment came on February 26th in 1972. That's when a coal slurry dam on Buffalo Creek, right up this little road, collapsed, releasing over 132 million gallons of black wastewater down through a string of coal camps. The Buffalo Creek disaster killed 125 people, injured more than 1,100, and left 4,000 people homeless. While the town of Man wasn't completely destroyed, it sat directly in the flood's path, and it became the central hub for the emergency response that followed. Survivors were brought to the Man High School and Man Elementary School, where classrooms became triage centers and temporary housing. The gym floors were covered with cots and crying children. Bodies of the flood victims were also brought to the Man High School gymnasium, which was used as a temporary morgue while families waited outside. The water left a permanent scar on the area, and even today you can almost feel the weight of some of the town's past. Long before the flood, though, Man was the scene of something else, something that you don't often hear about anymore. In the spring of 1862, a man did a horrific double murder in Taplin Hollow, just up the river from town, just right over that way. According to accounts preserved by the Appalachian historian Brandon Ray Kirk, Henry Walker came down Taplin Hollow late one night during the final months of the Civil War. He entered the home of Uncle Frank McKeeson and, for no known reason, grabbed a double-bitted axe. He attacked Uncle Frank and his wife, killing both of them, and then fleeing to Raleigh County. Walker didn't get far, though. About a week later, a local constable named George Skaggs tracked him down and brought him back to Logan County. He was taken before the Justice of the Peace, John Perry, right here in Man. At the time, Virginia law, it was part of Virginia then, this is Civil War, Virginia law still allowed for the Justice of the Peace to pass a death sentence. And that is exactly what Squire Perry did. Without delay, Walker was loaded on a wagon and brought down the road to Taplin Hollow, to the very place where he had committed the murders. Word spread quickly around town about what was happening. Men, women, and children followed the wagon on foot, laughing and cracking jokes on the way to see what they called a show. The execution was carried out on a locust tree, which stood just below the highway at the mouth of Taplin Hollow. That stump, or better yet, the gnarled, weather-beaten remains of it anyway, supposedly still stands today. The only landmark on Earth that calls to mind the hanging of Henry Walker. When they reached the spot, a rope was thrown over a limb of an old locust tree. Now we'll let the side-by-sides go on. Okay. Anyway, like I said, a rope was thrown over the old locust tree. Walker stood on a barrel that was placed underneath it while the rope was tightened up around his neck. Constable Skaggs wasted no time on speeches or prayers. He kicked the barrel out from under him without hesitation. Walker fell just 6 inches, but those who had gathered there to see it said they heard a loud, sickening crack as his neck snapped. He hung, twitching for several minutes before Skaggs finally cut him down and put him in the wagon. This time, they carried him back here to Man in town for burial. That same crowd followed the wagon back into town, but there were no more jokes. There was no more laughing. Even the children spoke in hushed tones and no doubt stayed very close to Mom and Dad. They had all come to see a spectacle and watch the show, but instead they had witnessed a man's life ending on a rope. It wasn't quite as entertaining as they had expected. Traumatizing was probably a much better description. This entire story, including many of its preserved details, comes from the blog of a man named Brandon Ray Kirk. He's a local historian who's done a lot to document the real life stories of Logan County. His blog, brandonraykirk.com, features a lot of first-hand accounts and rare local sources that keep these moments from being forgotten. Thanks to Brandon's work in this case, and those who've kept these stories alive, we can walk these same paths today and know what happened. The old locust stump, though decayed, remains in place, or so they say. The mouth of Taplin Hollow still opens to the hillside where a man once met justice under Virginia law, with a flour barrel, a rope, and an eager crowd. If you're visiting Man today, the area is usually pretty quiet and quite pretty, but it still holds all of these memories. You can still stand near the mouth of Taplin Hollow, walk along Buffalo Creek Road here, or visit the Buffalo Creek flood memorials nearby. The town of Man might look small on a map, but its history, from coal to catastrophe to old world justice, is anything but small. Today, I will be taking you to some of these very places in person. So settle down, relax, and come along for the ride. I'm going to head right over there and use that little intersection right there where that State Farm is as kind of a central point, you know, where I've parked at, and go that way, this way, and that way. I have all three available, but we'll head over there. Start our little ride from right here. This used to be the main road coming into town. I can remember that years ago. Well, I guess technically it still is, but there's a big 4-lane right over there now. All right, now eventually we'll head down that way, but first we want to head straight up Buffalo Creek right here. Head straight up. Now this would have been where the wall of water came down, right through here. "20 feet deep, black, brackish water. A wave 20 feet deep." I don't know if y'all caught that or not. Look at that. Old department store. Uncle Sam's out of business. I remember that pawn shop. Had Uncle Sam's, Uncle Bill's, and 2 or 3 others too. Now we'll just head right up through town. Just cruising. Low speed. Can't really see stuff at high speed, can you? Nice little peaceful town, very quiet. Sunday's the only day to do this stuff, ain't it? Kind of get out and see it, look around a little bit. You can actually see. Church just letting out. Hello. That's the only way to cruise around right there. Vietnam War Memorial. Right there. Pretty cool. Try to get this up where y'all can see without having to take everything apart. That'll work. You got a plaque here, a little all gave some gave all. Better. The eagle over there. Alright, let's head on up. Kick him into fast gear and go on. This isn't the one that I'm headed for. There's a whole memorial right up the road, right up there. But this right here, have a little marker out here. Buffalo Creek disaster. One of the worst floods in the U.S. occurred here February 26th in 1972 when the Buffalo Mining Company impoundment dam for mine waste broke, releasing over 130 million gallons of black wastewater, killed 125, property losses over 50 million. Now this is in the 60s or 70s too, guys, so keep that in mind. And thousands left homeless. 3 commissions placed blame on ignored safety practices. Led to the 1973 Dam Control Act and a $13.5 million class action legal settlement in 1974. A lot of people killed here. I've heard a lot of stories over the years about the flood and the aftermath. We did a video about the flood once, and I mentioned a couple of them. But let's head on up. Kind of watch for traffic, make sure there's nobody behind me. I can get up to about 30 on the little scooter, but I'd still rather not have anybody behind me. There's Burke. We're gone. Getting it up the road on a little scooter. No shame in my game, y'all. Got the road all to myself. Here's the entrance here. Buffalo Creek Memorial. Let me get the camera off the GoPro and we'll go in for just a second and look around. Now, this is just beside the road here. They've built a little memorial for the victims and put a little fence around it. A little guest book you can sign. And look at this. In memory of those who died in the Buffalo Creek flood, February 26, 1972. And there's a list of all the names. I heard a story. I will tell one. I heard this one story about a guy. He was an older gentleman I met up this way years ago in the 90s. And he was telling me about how in the aftermath of the flood, the Red Cross had came down and they had given out peanut butter sandwiches and Kool-Aid. And he sat down and ate his sandwich and drank his Kool-Aid. Went back to work a little bit later, and he said that the pile of trash that he had been sitting on when he ate lunch, he said he started cleaning up that pile after lunch and found his sister underneath it. And he was crying. And I remember him telling me that he was never able to eat peanut butter or Kool-Aid after that. He said he can't even handle the thought of peanut butter. The old man's probably gone by now. That's been 40 years ago. And he was pretty old then. He's probably long gone now. Alright, let's get back on the scooter. Keep going. Got a lot to cover in man today. Okay, I'm back at my little central hub over by the murals. My little parking spot, and head out in different directions spot. We are headed that way this time, across the bridge. We went up that way up through town, and we are headed over toward the old high school where the old school used to be, and the residential section. It's now like I said, they've got a new high school now, got a big high school there still, but it's also a residential area too. So we'll just kind of cruise through, just kind of look around a little bit, you know what I mean, just kind of sail through as we go. Here, box. there. Right there, guys. Man High School. This would have been where all of the bodies were brought. Let me see if we can get over there a little closer. Wow. There it is. I remember seeing that thing over the door in some of the old pictures. Right there. People standing around. Right here. By this door. Could you imagine? Now just imagine this, guys. Picture this, all right? Try to picture this in your head. Your community has just had a historic flood. You know, the dam is broke and all this sludge water has done its damage and wiped out your town. You're over here at the school because you heard they're bringing bodies over here and you want to see if your missing loved one is among them. And you're standing out here just waiting for word to find out. That's what happened right here on this spot. Very interesting, isn't it? It's sad and you know, the heartbreak that a lot of these people felt. And the school, you know, had to carry on afterward. Hillbilly Field, home of the hillbillies. Home of the Lady Billies too. Check it out. Y'all thought I was kidding. Home of the Lady Billies. Right there, Lady Billies. I like it. Check out some of the town. That's a clock. Hillbilly Circle. I'll just tell you guys, it's kind of hard to imagine the level of heartbreak that must have happened right here on this spot. Hello. Oh, do you?
So why was that exactly?
It is.
That's Tommy McCoy.
Tommy McCoy.
I was going to say, I don't know what you look like, but I heard your voice.
Yeah, glad to meet y'all. Glad to meet y'all.
We've,
Let me turn that off. I'm recording right now. Y'all want to be on channel? I know. Okay, I won't turn it then. They were McCoys, and apparently they live down here. And said that they watch our channel. All to ourselves. Trail traffic must use trestle. Well, we gotta go across the trestle. I mean, it's a trestle. An ATV trestle bridge. This trestle was once used by the railroad to transport coal to other parts of the United States and other countries. Fun fact, the length of this bridge is 580 feet long. Oh, slow speed. We don't want to go across too fast. Used to be train tracks here, y'all. Okay, I'll take it back. We do want to go fast. Okay, we can get some dirt. Okay, that's enough playing. Alright, let's go. Well, you got to go across the train trestle. What can I say? Of course, you got to watch the other side, because it's made of cinder blocks. Of course, if you're on a side-by-side, it don't matter. Can't really see over the edge very well. And now I can say I've rode a scooter across a train trestle. Alright, nothing coming. High gear. And we are gone. Oh no, we're in eco mode. Now we're in high gear. We are back where we started. Well, I've made it back to the center of town, the two main intersection, you know. right in town unscathed. Little scooters loaded, and we didn't get ran over, so that's good. That's a good thing. But we've covered pretty much most of Man. We went up this way, up to the memorial, out that way, went over to the school, and looked around a little bit in a few other places. The only one we've got left at this point is the hanging site of Henry Walker. But anyway, we're going to load out here, load up, and head out to the mouth of Taplin Hollow and see if we can find this old locust stump or not. To be honest, like I said, I have doubts. But it certainly wouldn't be the first time, now would it? You know, the Blue Goose Saloon, when we found it, you know, the people that own the land literally had a historical site in their front yard and didn't know it. Is this another case? We'll find out right here in a minute. I'm headed out for Taplin Hollow right now. Well guys, I'm in Taplin. I'm walking around, obviously. I am pretty sure that I found this stump. It fits the description to a T. It's in the exact location. And right now I am, believe it or not, I'm going door to door. I'm trying to find the oldest person in the neighborhood. That's what I'm looking for. I'm gonna see if I can't find out some more information. But I am pretty sure I just spoke to a lady named Walker, of all things, and she lives right beside of it. And I was telling her I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that fence right there, that stump on the other side of your fence, had a man hanged on it one time. All right. Kind of moving around, like I said, hoping to find somebody who's local, who's been around here a long time. And I'll tell you why. I think that's our stump right there. I could be wrong, but by God, I believe that's it. I believe I was talking to that Walker woman right there. She's a Walker, and look at this. Henry Drive. Henry S. Walker was the guy who was hanged. They supposedly came up down this holler here. Presumably there was a house here with, you know, the nice old couple, you know. Mr. Walker came down, found a double bit axe, and killed them both. And he was brought back up here to be hanged. According to the old stories, it's directly across from Taplin Hill. Taplin, you know, used to be Taplin Hollow. It's closed off now, but you get the point. Directly across the road, under the hill, under the road. Directly across, there's a stump. Supposedly the stump still stands there. There it sits. Hello, I see somebody pulling in. Where are you going? I will go talk to you. Actually, I saw somebody over here on this side. We'll let them get in. I'll go over here. I saw some people over here. We'll see if we can't find the oldest person in the neighborhood. Because, as you know, they always know stuff. So that's what we're looking for. Something or someone to corroborate that might be our tree. I see somebody. Okay, found two guys. Talked to them. They were up here cutting grass. They don't really know much about it. Sent me to a couple people that might know, one down that way, but I just saw a lady going in right here. And this house looks, you know, it looks like it's been here a minute, and they might actually know something. So let's go knock on the door and find out. I mean, this is right across the street from where I suspect, right at the mouth of the hollow. Well, guess what? I have new information. I just went over to the little blue house there, run into a guy named Edgar. Real good dude. We've been talking out there for probably 20 minutes, sitting on his porch just talking. Now, he was telling me there's a dude named Joe, used to live up here, Taplin Hollow. You can see the gate up there. Coal company. Just bought the whole holler out. They tried to buy him, but he didn't want to sell. Now, the old stump directly across the road, right? That's where the old stump is that I showed you. Here, let me just walk over and I'll show you. Make sure everybody's on the same page here. Hello. The old stump is right over there on the other side of that guardrail, right? Guess what? Edgar told me that was not a locust tree. That was an old walnut tree that was cut down several years back. Quite a few years back, actually. Now, excuse me. Edgar has been here for about 50 years. He said there was an old man named Joe that you'd really want to talk to up the holler, said, but the coal company bought him out and he moved. But Edgar's been here for about 50 years, and Edgar knows some stuff, okay? That was an old walnut tree. Where that stump over there, that's an old walnut tree. That is not it. Guess what I see in front of me? Edgar pointed this out too. Great big locust tree, right there, right across from the holler. Right there, that one sticking up, that's a big locust. Right over here, this is a black locust. Right behind my truck, that is a black locust. Standing right there, sitting right there, standing, whatever, tree. Sitting, standing, growing, whatever. But anyway, this is not it. Now, I'm thinking, he was telling me, Edgar was saying that when he was young, he said that this spot right here, where this clump of brush is, he said this was called the knob. And he said it was clear back then. He said that when we were young, he said all the kids would hang out. This is where all the local kids, you know, would hang out on this knob. He said they would sit over here with a hammer. When cars would go by, said that one of them would jump a little bit and the other kid would hit the guardrail with a hammer and, you know, freak people out. They thought they'd hit something. So yeah, he knows stuff. He knows stuff. Now, I am thinking there's a creek going right down through here, and I don't think I can get back in there. But right there is that old locust. Now, I don't believe that. I don't think it's Civil War old. I mean, it's old. They'll break. Locusts are really rigid. They don't give much. And when they get cold, snowy, all this kind of stuff, they tend to break. And, you know, you can have an old one, which now then again, that thing's about, what, 3 foot? That is a beast. I don't care for snakes. I'm going. Get out of here, snakes. Run. Leo's coming. It looks old, don't it? There's a piece broke off too, a whole chunk that's broken off. There's a smaller one there. I do not see an old stump, but I'm kind of wondering if either that might be the tree itself or possibly, you know, a seedling from it. Because this is, like I said, this is directly across the road from Taplin. I guess that's off just a little bit, and like I said, that's a walnut tree. That's not it. Unfortunately, the kudzu back through there, look at that. The government paid people to plant kudzu because it would grow so fast and cover ground. It's called the vine that ate the South. Invasive species can grow a foot a day in the presence of water. I do not see any more stumps on this side of the road. I do see the locust right there, and of course the black locust right here. Now, I don't know if there's a possibility. See, I went talking to the other neighbors too. I actually went up through that way, down here and up that way. I went over here, went up that way. I've been talking to the neighbors, y'all. I'm really trying. I am really trying to find a Civil War a tree stump from the Civil War. I'm trying really hard to find a tree stump that almost certainly can't exist. But like I said, it would not be the first time that we found something that wasn't there. You know? Remember the search for the graveyard that don't exist? It existed, and we found it. And I do not believe that's Civil War old. Pretty place other than the kudzu, isn't it? That's somebody heading to Edgar's. He said he had some company coming. How you doing? Pretty good, can't complain. Y'all heading for Edgar's, huh? Yeah. Heading for Edgar's. I was just talking to him.
He just got back from the hospital.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Every person that we run into, we learn a little bit more. We're in the right spot, but as I suspected all along, I highly doubt that a tree that was big enough, growing and big enough to hang someone on during the Civil War would still be standing. Even a stump, you know, it's kind of a stretch, but it was definitely absolutely worth the try to come out here and tell y'all the story and see if we couldn't find it. Well, we didn't find the tree stump, but we did tell the story, and we certainly found the spot. This is the spot. More than likely the couple that was, you know, axe murdered by Mr. Walker, presumably either here, or right in here, because it was supposedly at the mouth of the holler when Mr. Walker came down. Anyway, very interesting story, very interesting place, and man, West Virginia is most certainly a very interesting town. I like that POWMIA sign. That's been there for many years. I can remember seeing that in the 90s sitting there. That was how I knew where the spot was. I knew where that sign was. Siri tried to take me the wrong way. She tried to take me back up Route 10 the other way. But that's totally normal. She's all the time trying to get me to take her to Canada for some reason. I think she's got a thing for Justin Trudeau. But I think he's dating Katy Perry now, so I don't think my phone has much of a chance. Anyway. Alright, guys. I quit being stupid. Justin Trudeau. Dating my phone. Alright, guys. I guess that's about enough of that. Anyway, I appreciate y'all coming along today and checking out the old town of Man, West Virginia. Hearing about the old stories about the flood. Go check out the school and a few other places and look around a little bit. And come out here to the mouth of Taplin Hollow. I can't prove it, unfortunately, like a few of the other stories we've done over the years. I can't prove it, but I think this knoll right here could be where we're at. I think this might be where it happened, because he said this was cleared. When he was younger, it was cleared, and it was just the tree. I think this might be the spot right here. Alright, guys, that's about as close as we can get, I do believe. So I'm gonna load up, say thank you to all of you guys for coming along. We appreciate you guys, and we most certainly hope you enjoyed our little adventure today. So I guess until next time, guys, we will see you next trip, the next little adventure, the next mystery. Hello. How are we? Where's the babies? Stopped by here with Heather the other day. We came by and they had some baby goats. Little tiny ones. Look at that. Little tiny baby goats. Watch them come running. Where's the babies at? Guys, where's the babies? Y'all just wanting some goat snacks, ain't you?